Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how to connect your Vue.js application with the backend of the WordPress, okay? When I say backend of WordPress, I mean that we're just going to use the API that WordPress is coming from. And that's probably in cases that if you work for some clients that they asking you for WordPress or they just want to have that main panel and they want to add everything, but you just don't like working with the WordPress or you just don't like to work with the structure that WordPress offers you, okay? So, well, that's the best way. You just use your client side application and you just consume WordPress with you just consume the API coming from the WordPress, okay? Well, for this reason, you have, well, for the purpose of the example of this tutorial, I make a small WordPress site just to show you how it works with the API, and in your case, probably you should do this by your own. And if you don't know how to do it, let me know down in the description, and I can point you some good tutorials. So probably I can make one of a simple using of the WordPress, okay? Well, for the reason for the connection between the Vue.js and the WordPress, we're going to use a Gridsome, and Gridsome is amazing tools that it's coming with the Vue.js, and it's very similar than Gatsby. If you know what's a Gatsby, well, Gatsby was a static site it's still a static site generator working with the React, and it's one of the more popular for the moment, and it's blazingly fast. It's just so fast, and it's working amazing. I was thinking this until actually I discovered Gridsome, and I found that the same, and it's amazing, and it works so quickly, and it makes so much purposes that probably you're going to need for your application. Well, it's a static site generator, okay, but you can see that you can use it for different kind of scenarios, okay. Well, first of all, what we do is that I'm going to show you a simple, I show you how to start a simple application with Gridsome, okay? And then I show you how to make this one, but using the WordPress wrapper that they just offer, say you, the team behind the Gridsome and offer, say you, the WordPress wrapper, but I show you this one in one of the next steps, okay? Well, first of all, let's go to install it, like any of this project. You just go in the documentation, get started, and down there you can find the commands that you can install it globally, because we need the COI, okay? We need the COI to generate first of all the test application that I'm going to show you how to make it, and then generate the WordPress application that is going to consume our WordPress API, okay? You can use Yarn if you have Yarn installed in your system, and if you don't have Yarn installed in your system, you can use npm, okay? Well, I prefer Yarn because it's much more fast, and you see a big difference between the time that is installing everything with Yarn or with npm, okay? I'm not going to do this step, okay, but you just have to copy this line and paste in your terminal, then enter, and then just install it globally. And I'm not going to do this because obviously I have installed in my system for the purpose of the example, where I was have to play with this and experimenting. So I have already in my system. What I'm going to do is that I just go on top of the terminal, and I'm going to navigate into the folder that I planning that we create the project. So in my case, that's in desktop, and I have a folder that's called code. Sorry, and here we say Gridsom, okay, sorry, create, very similar than Vue.js COI if you used before, and we say let's go and say gr test, because it's just going to be a test application. You press enter. Now this one is going to take a little while. What I mean little while, I don't know, but my system is working quite slowly, okay, and something that I don't like it. But sorry, we cannot do nothing about this, so we just have to wait it. You can see now the first steps they done. Now just it's resolving some packages and fetching some packages and installing some packages. Okay, until that's done, let's going to talk about what's the plan and what we're going to do, and explain you a little bit about Gridsom and how it's working. Well, like I said, the Gridsom is going to generate your static website, and your static website, after that, you can host it in actually any server. And then, as you can see here, that we can use variety of a different kind of backend. What I mean by that is that we can use REST APIs. We can use some database if you have in your machine or in your server. You can use a GraphQL. Well, actually, here in Gridsom, one of the amazing thing, and one of the thing as well that Gatsby is using, that's the GraphQL. And GraphQL is a query language, and I'm not an expert how GraphQL is working. Probably in the future it's coming more video for you guys and for me as well, that I get learning and getting better with the GraphQL. Okay, but just a general speaking and general look of the GraphQL, it's a query language that is going to help you to query to make a query of the data that you want. What I mean by that is that, for example, you see that when we make when we call the WordPress API, and it's going to give you back a lot of data that probably you don't need it. So with the query language like GraphQL and something that is coming by default with the Gridsom, we can query the data and we can take only the data that we need. Okay, so it's just awesome, and it's very easy. Let's see what's happening here. We're done. So now we navigate to the project, and in my case I'm going to open with the Visual Studio, type in code and then dot, because we go in the same directory. In your case, if you're not using Visual Studio, you can open with any code editor that you prefer. Okay, that's the structure, not module obviously. Then we have the src file, and then we have the statics. And the statics in this kind of projects like static site generators, it's where you put your for example robot file and stuff that they have to be in the directory of your well, in the directory of your index. Okay, let's go to open the src, because that's that's the directory that you're going to work more. Okay, and here you can see the components. The components is the place that you can place your Vue.js components, a single file components. And I hope so that until this moment you know how to what's that mean. Okay, and then that's the layout. That's going to be the default layout, which it's going to wrap our application. Actually, let's go to start our application so I can show you what I mean by that. Let's go to open the package.json, and you see here the develop. That's the script. That's the what we have to run if we want to start our project. Okay. In our case, we're going to call it dev. I don't know what's happening in my terminal, because probably I start some command accidentally. Let's cancel this. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit ill still. Sorry about that. Now, to start the project, what we're going to do is like I said, if you use yarn, dev. Okay, if you're not using yarn, just npm run and then dev. Well, dev because we change here, because we want to be more simple and short. Okay. Now it's going to generate everything for us. Okay, and it's going to make well, it's going to build and bundle everything that we needed. Okay, it's going to take a little. It's creating the if we see that it's creating the GraphQL schema. And if you read about the GraphQL, probably you should know by now what's this, but like I say, I'm not a big expert, so I'm not getting in this to explain you exactly what is it, because probably I always got wrong all this stuff. So let's continue. Okay, as you can see, we can go in the localhost 8080, and then I show the other option. What is it? And let's go to say that there we go, and that's our home page. And like I said, I don't know that I say this, but well, Gridsom is using Vue.js routes, so as you can see that the routes they set for us already and they work perfectly. Okay, let's go to see the structure, what's happening here. Pages. Well, if you work before with the Next.js, probably you know how they handle the part of the pages and the routes as well, and it's amazing. It's just so easy. What does that mean? If in pages we create, let's go to say contact.vue.js, okay, that's going to be a new page for us. And it's going to be like, now we have about and we have the index, which it's our home in our case. And now we're going to have the contact. Okay, let's go to create one contact very quickly. Like I said, that's a single file, a Vue.js component, and here we say, if I'm not wrong, let me see, we need the layout, wrapping all this stuff. Yep, layout, we need it. So we say, oops, layout, and then we close it, and here. So that's going to wrap our contact page in the base layout. Okay, in the base layout, like I showed you before, is the default here. Okay, so everything that is here in the SWOT, it's going to be the content you put, like the content from the contact page or about page, and that's just going to wrap everything. And here, as you can see that the Gridsom, they use a G-link, and that's the way that they make the links about the routing and everything, and it's very easy actually. We call it contact, and here we say contact. Let's save this. Let's say h1, and now we can say here the contact, and we save it, and we're going to see that it's working. There we go, the contact is working. We have about, home, and contact, and as you can see, it was just so easy and so simple to create the pages. You just go in the contact, go in the folder. Under the folder pages, you create the page that you want. Well, obviously have to be a Vue.js component, and then from here you start to work. Okay, like I say, guys, that's going to be very easy, but we want to see how to connect with the WordPress. So let's go to not spending more time. Let's go to close this one actually. Let's go to create the connection between our front end and the WordPress. Okay, for this reason, like I said, I said in the beginning of the video, you should have already prepared a WordPress. Well, you have installed WordPress in your local machine. There's millions and millions of tutorial how to do this. Okay, but if you want to know a little bit more about how to create a WordPress project and some basic stuff, let me know down in the description so I can make it something for you. Okay, in my case, I have installed WordPress under WP test, and because I use Valet, and the domain is test, the domain extension is test, and if I hit enter, I'm going in my website WordPress installation. I'm going in the home page, but we don't need it. We just need the JSON data. We need the API. Okay, so the API wp/JSON, and as you can see that we get a lot of data here. Okay, right, so obviously we don't work with this data here because it's so much and it's getting annoying. So what we can do is that we can start our project. Let's go to open the terminal, and let's get outside of this because there was a test project, and now we start the WordPress project. Okay, and here we say Gridsome, and then we say create again, like if you remember from before, and then the name of your project, WP Gridsome, and now in the end we put WordPress. What's that mean is that, for example, I show you here, they have a starter kit. Okay, like I said, they have a wrapper around that, and here it's the command. Okay, and it's going to prepare everything for you, and we have to do some configuration, but I show you now what we're going to do exactly. Okay, so Gridsom create well, the name of your project, you can call it whatever you like. Okay, and then you put the WordPress, that's the startup kit, and you just press enter. Again, it's going to take a little while. Okay, I don't know why so slowly. Probably it's making so much stuff in the background. Okay, but we just have to be patient. And now again, let's go to talk about a little bit what's the idea here. We get the API, we get the API endpoint that we needed. Okay, that's going to be made it by the starter kit. It's going to prepare everything for us that we needed. Then we use the query, well, we use the GraphQL to query the information that we get from there, and we just going to query and modulate the information in the way that we need it. We're just going to take the information that we only need and nothing more. Okay, let's go to see. Well, that's done. Perfect. So let's go to cd into Gridsome, and again I'm going to open with my code editor. Sorry guys, let's go to make this bigger, and let's go to see what's happening here. The first important part that you should do, the step that you should take before that we start to make anything, okay, is go in your Gridsom config or gridsom.config.js file. Okay, and as you can see here, we have a plugin. That's the way that the Gridsom is adding plugin in your Gridsom project. Okay, in our case, it's going to add a source WordPress. Here it say very clearly your website URL means that we need, in our case, in my case, because I create wp test.test. Okay, so that's my main URL. Okay, in your case it's going to be probably different. Okay, but it doesn't matter what was it, but probably could be localhost and then the port. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you put where it say the URL. Okay, so we don't need this one. Okay, and that's it. You don't need to do nothing more until this moment. Well, for now you don't need to do nothing more. You just save it and close this file. Okay, now first of all, before that I show you the structure, I want to show you a little bit magic here. Let's go and open the terminal, and again we say yarn develop. Well, develop because in the package.json that's the command that we need to run, and after that once when we're ready, we just run a build. Okay, in our case develop, not dev, we say develop. Okay, it's going to run for us, it's going to compile everything for us, and once when that's done, we're going to hit the localhost 8080, and look what's happening. Here we go, localhost 8080, we copy that, we go here and we paste it, and voila. Well, what you see in front of you is that's supposed coming from the WordPress. Okay, and it's everything that we needed. Okay, it's everything that we have it, and everything that we specificate and say that we need this information, and I show you now in the code how that's work. But it's amazing because that's it, we just connect it, and now we can manipulate it and we can get the data that we need. Let's go to have a look here. If we go in your source file, and then we go in pages, and then we go in index. Okay, indexes, that's the index page here. Okay, so in the index page, let's go to see what's happening. The page query. Okay, the page query tag, that's a tag coming from the Gridsom. Okay, and the query here, it's the GraphQL that we spoke before. Okay, the GraphQL that is getting all WordPress posts. Okay, let me see that. if we open the configuration, the type name we have here, the WordPress. Okay, so it's getting all your WordPress and say we need a 10 per page, pages as a pages, it's true. Then the page information that we need. Okay, and you see in which case we use the page information here. Okay, sorry. And then here's the actually the details that we needed. We need the title and the path, and we need the content as well inside. Okay, so let me show you what's happening actually here. There we go. So we say not in page or edges, and as you can see there is just this one here. Then we make one before, one for each, and then the key is mandatory. We just use the ID as a key. Okay, and then we get the title, and then we get the fields expert. Okay, and then read more, that's going to be the route link, and the route link is going to send you in the path, the path here. Okay, means that, for example, if you click and read more, you get the post. You get the post with the title and the content coming from the WordPress. Means that in your WordPress admin you create a post with this title and this content. Okay, or your user or your client. Okay, you understand, well, probably you understand what I mean by that. Okay, let me show you actually this page from where it's coming. If we open in templates, and you see here WordPress posts. Okay, and when you go in WordPress post, and there we go, you see we make a query here. Okay, and in this query we just specify what kind of information we need, and we say that we need a title and we need the content as well. And as you can see that we only need these things, and that's it. We just don't do nothing more. Okay, we just don't do nothing more. We just take it from here and use what we exactly want. And to get a little bit more clear idea, this kind of queries, what they going to give you back. Okay, it's very easy. Let's go to copy this URL, and let's open in the new window actually. And now you see what GraphQL is doing actually for you guys. If we get this one, we just let's go to say the we need to copy all this into here. We just copy that, you go here, you paste it, and then you say play, and that's it. You see what we have here. We have the JSON that it's coming from the WordPress API, and that's a structure that you normally can see it here. Okay, but that's more structured, just structured in our needs and nothing more. Okay, we don't get information that we don't need it, and that's the query that we just make it. Okay, so guys, I hope so that they was helpful for you, and I hope so that you get some idea on how powerful is this one, and how powerful as well, because it's going to you don't going to spend so much time with the connection to the WordPress API, because Gridsom is going to make absolutely everything for you. Also, it's going to make it ASO friendly. Okay, because the generator is built in this way that is going to optimize and make it everything in the web standards that you need for your production application. Okay, once when we run as well the build command, it's going to prepare and compile and minify everything, and your application is going to be blazingly fast. It's going to be so fast, and you're just consuming the WordPress API, so probably you don't need to look nothing more in the PHP code there. Well, probably you should go in the admin panel, make some posts, make some pages, and start to use it from your front end. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope so that this video was helpful for you. Like I said, I just think a pic of how to use a Gridsom and how to connect it with the WordPress. Okay, thank you guys. I hope so that you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, and we see you in the next video. Bye.